Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law a family secret, and now everyone is breaking up or divorcing? I, 30 female, recently told my sister-in-law a family secret everyone hid from her, and now everyone is calling me the a-hole and telling me it wasn't my place. Some backstory. I am no contact with my mother and her husband, but I do still have a relationship with about half of my siblings. There are 12 of us, and I'm the only girl. Anyway, several months ago, I got an invite to my older brother's, 33 male, we'll call him Adam, wedding. The invite listed myself, my husband, and our children. I immediately called him and asked if our mother's husband would be there, and he said of course. I reminded Adam that I will never have my children in the same room as that man, and frankly, I never want to be either. But I'll make an exception for myself only and celebrate his happy day. My children and husband would not attend. He said his wife, we'll call her Abby, would be so disappointed because we've never met, and because she has no family of her own, no siblings and both parents deceased, she was hoping to have the entirety of her new family together. I told Adam I was sorry to disappoint his wife-to-be, but I would be attending alone, and I was not bending on this. The day of the wedding, I did exactly as I said I would and came alone, and my husband took the kids to visit his parents for the weekend. The ceremony was beautiful, and it was amazing to see my brother so happy. During the reception, Abby pulled me aside when she found the time and started asking me a million questions. Excited to meet Adam's mysterious little sister, her exact words. Then she asked the question that made my heart sink, why I'm never around. I realized then that no one had ever told her about my mother's husband. At first, I told her it was a conversation she really needed to have with Adam. She said she had tried asking him and everyone else, and the responses she always got were that I'm dramatic, a drama queen, and throwing a years-long tantrum because I'm a brat. But after speaking with me, she didn't get that impression of me at all. I insisted again that she really needed to speak with Adam. Her next response made my heart sink even further. She said she'd rather hear it from me because Adam would just refuse to tell her, and because she was now 10 weeks pregnant. She really wanted her child to know their entire family. Her baby won't have aunts, uncles, and cousins from her side, so she really wanted her baby to have a relationship with everyone, and she thought maybe whatever it was, she could help fix it. I took a deep breath and told her that the man my mother is married to hurt me and made my entire middle school experience a nightmare, and that no one protected me until I met my husband. He and his family made me realize I didn't have to put up with the crap I got from my family. So the moment I graduated high school, I left and never looked back. After I said this to her, I turned and left the reception and drove straight home. Well, during their honeymoon, Abby did some investigating and found my stepfather's arrest record, the charges, and that he is still listed on the registry. She then took it upon herself to message the other wives and girlfriends of my brothers to see if any of them knew. None of them did. Now 4 of my brothers are looking at divorces, including Adam, and 2 have already been dumped. My phone has been blowing up nonstop because this is, of course, my fault. My husband insists I did nothing wrong and that they should have been honest with their significant others. So am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law our family secret, or should I have just kept my mouth shut? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. If your stepdad is on the offender registry, every woman deserves to know so she can make an educated choice about being around him or having their children around him. All of these men lied to their significant others because they knew it would be a problem. The liars are the problem, not you. They not only lied, but the brothers also put their own kids at risk. If my husband knowingly had my children near a pedo and never told me about it, I would divorce him too. OP, if you see this, I'm so sorry you had to experience any of that, both then and now. I'm so glad your husband and in-laws make you feel safe. Sending good thoughts to you out there. Nope, not the a-hole. It was time someone stepped up to protect the children and future children. Not to mention, none of the spineless cowards you call brothers could be honest with their wives about it. What did they think would happen when they eventually found out, when it happened to one of their kids? I'm horrified that she has 11 brothers, and not one of them went to bat for her. I have one brother, and he'd go to bat for me over something as small as a bag of M&Ms if I asked him or needed him to. Next story. Am I the a-hole for accepting my stepdaughter's apology, but not wanting to be close like we used to be? I'm 50 and my husband is also 50. He has 2 daughters who are now 25 and 23. For some context, I met him around 19 years ago, about 6 months after his divorce. About a year after we started dating, I met his daughters, and at the time they were 5 and 7. When I met them, their parents were already divorced and had 50-50 custody. From what I understood back then, their marriage and divorce involved a lot of jealousy, accusations of cheating, and just overall drama. I want to be clear, I had absolutely nothing to do with their marriage ending. I met him after everything was already over. When I first came into their lives, we actually had a really good relationship. We were close. After their dad and I got married, we stayed close for years. It honestly felt like the kind of step-parent relationship people hope for. Things started changing when the oldest was around 12 and started asking more questions about the divorce. At some point, they were told by their mom that I was the reason their parents split up and that I was the woman their dad cheated with, which isn't true. After that, things slowly shifted. They became more distant, more disrespectful at times, and our relationship just kept getting worse. I didn't blame them back then because they were kids, and kids usually believe what they're told. But once they became adults, it got harder to brush things off. As adults, they've disinvited me from major family events, tried to convince their dad to leave me multiple times, and told him they would cut him off if he stayed with me. There were times I basically wasn't allowed at holidays or family events if they were going to be there. They also didn't want much to do with their siblings, my kids with my husband. Over the years, my husband and I tried to explain the timeline, that I had nothing to do with their parents' marriage ending, and that he never cheated. They never believed us. Recently, their mom started therapy after getting into a new relationship, and apparently realized some of her past views on cheating weren't accurate. She ended up apologizing to the girls and to my husband and admitted that I wasn't involved in their divorce and that he didn't cheat. This all came out recently at the youngest daughter's birthday party. After that, both girls reached out and apologized to me. They said they want to fix things and go back to how we used to be when they were younger. I told them I do accept their apology because I do. But I also told them I don't think I can go back to having that same close relationship. At this point, I'm okay being civil, being kind, seeing each other at holidays, and just having a respectful relationship. I just don't feel like I have it in me to rebuild a super close relationship after everything that's happened. They're adults now and living their own lives. The oldest is already engaged, and I'm sure they'll both have their own families soon. I don't hate them. I don't want drama. I just don't feel like I can emotionally go back to how things were before. I just want to live my life, finish raising my kids, and have peace. So, am I the a-hole for accepting their apology, but not wanting to be close with them again? You aren't an on and off button. Not the a-hole. They need to show that they've changed, not just claim it. It sounds as though OP is being entirely reasonable to me. Maybe after a little while, if everything stays civil, OP will reconsider her position somewhat and be willing to put some time and effort into building a new relationship with her stepdaughters, one based on honesty and mutual respect for one another as adults. Provided, I mean, that the stepdaughters are equally willing to put some time and effort into it. However, OP can't be expected to know how she'll feel in the future, and in the meantime, her position makes perfect sense to me. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. It's unfortunate it took their mom this long to get help and come clean, but you can't go back and experience years' worth of animosity and drama. It's okay for you to dictate the terms of any relationship you choose to have with them. Protect your peace. Too bad the mom didn't have the decency to apologize to OP also. I took note of this too. Even with this new insight, she's still trash. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my father that he needed to relax and lower his expectations after he left me with my grandparents at 15? I'm going to say a lot of things here that I've only told therapists and close family. I'm going to try to be honest, but some of this is 20 years old, and I'm very biased. My mom died when I was 10. When that happened, my dad more or less cut off contact with her family. They still called me and sent me gifts, but I didn't see them much. My dad met my stepmom when I was 12. I met her and her daughter Leah about 6 months later, and they got married a year after that. Leah's biological father is a deadbeat who hasn't seen her since she was 6 or so, and never paid child support. She latched on to my dad like he was a lifeline. My stepmom Jennifer and I had a good relationship. She didn't try to replace my mom, and I treated her with respect and affection, if not love. This drove Leah nuts. After the last 20 years of therapy, I can understand why she felt that way. About a year and a half after the wedding, Leah came up with a brilliant plan. She destroyed every picture I had of my mom, including the ones from her childhood, which were not digital. When I saw what she did, I lost it. She was so proud of herself. She was still holding the scissors. It didn't matter. I beat her badly. She gave as good as she got, but I had rage on my side. When they pulled us apart, I kicked her in the jaw and broke one of her teeth and messed up her braces. Then I said the dumbest thing I have ever said. I said that if they kept me in the house with her, all of them had better sleep with locked doors. Like I said, I was furious. My dad got me cleaned up and called my mom's dad. He sat with me and let me cry, vent, and sleep. My grandma, grandpa, and uncle drove 15 hours to come get me. It was supposed to be temporary, just until everything calmed down. Jennifer and Leah said they didn't feel safe with me in the house. So my dad shipped the rest of my stuff to me, and my grandparents became my guardians. It was a total reversal. Now I only talk to my dad's side of the family on the phone and got gifts in the mail from them. Any family event on their side would include Leah, so I was not invited. I was fine with it, or I've become fine with it. I have lots of cousins and aunts that I still miss though. Anyway, I got a lot of therapy. I finished high school, then college. I decided I liked the country life, and I got my student loan forgiveness for going back after I finished my education. I met and married the love of my life, and my father came to my wedding as an honored guest. My grandfather walked me down the aisle. In that time, Leah got a very aggressive form of breast cancer. She didn't make the 5-year survivor statistics. She also had no kids. My father wants to spend time with me and his grandchildren. I don't think of him that way anymore. I don't hate him. I think I understand why he chose to send me away. Once again, that's therapy talking. But he hasn't really been my dad in 20 years. I love him, but he isn't a huge part of my life. I don't want him coming over every month. He can see the kids on FaceTime and come here for holidays. But that's difficult because Jennifer still has feelings about what I did and would be unlikely to join him. I told him all of that. He kind of broke down. He said he was sorry for sending me away, for choosing them over me. He said I needed to let him be in my life. I really don't, though. I want him in small doses. Not the a-hole. You need to protect yourself. He essentially disposed of you as a kid suffering trauma, with photos of your precious memories of your deceased mother being destroyed. You do what's comfortable for you and your family. If that is small doses, he needs to accept it. Thank you. Not the a-hole. I suggest you limit your dad to low or no contact. With low contact, he can see you, and maybe your children, at major family events where the whole extended family is invited, but he does not get dad or grandparent rights. Nor does he get unlimited FaceTime. I would not allow any FaceTime. Consider that he may only be reaching out because 1. Leah died. 2. Leah did not provide any grandchildren. 3. You have children, and he wants to be a grandparent. The thing is, your sperm donor stopped being your father when he sent you away. Tell him that. How would being exposed to your sperm donor and his witch of a wife be good for your children? Family is more than blood. It's about loving and supporting each other. I would not let the sperm donor be around my kids. I also think you should reach out to your mother's extended family if you haven't already. My mom's extended family is my family. They all live within 3 hours drive, most in the town where I work. Last story. My girlfriend slept with her sister's husband. Now I don't want her around him. Am I the a-hole? I genuinely feel like I'm in a no-win situation and need some other opinions, so here we go. Me, 29 male, and my girlfriend, also 29, have been together for about 3 years. We've had our ups and downs, but it's been pretty good for the most part. However, a little under a year ago, I found out that 13 years ago, she used to hook up with her sister's now husband. To give some backstory, I've known this guy since I was a kid, and he was always a lot older, a bit of a douchebag, and kind of a pervert. Then when I was 19, there was a whole incident where he messaged my 14-year-old sister some weird things, but it wasn't enough to prosecute or something. He then proceeded to groom, date, and marry my girlfriend's sister when he was in his late 30s, and she was 19 to 20. She's currently 25, I think. And then I find out he used to sleep with my girlfriend when she was 16 or 17, and he was in his mid to late 20s. I was livid. So long story short, I wasn't comfortable with him around her anymore. I never cared for him anyway, and she claimed she didn't like him either. So I didn't think much of it when he came around, until after I found out. He's made comments about her before that I tried to brush off, because that's just how he is. But then I find out he used to sleep with her, and it becomes 10 times more disrespectful. I don't want her around him, and she doesn't respect that because she doesn't want to create any tension with her sister. I get that, but I don't know what the heck to do. Am I the a-hole? Okay, but he's a whole pedo and nobody sees a problem? Apparently not. I'm just the crazy boyfriend who's insecure that she slept with the brother-in-law a long time ago. At least that's how she feels, and how her family feels, according to her. But I've never discussed it with them personally. Move on. Your girlfriend may have been a dumb teenager back then, but she isn't one anymore. She's an adult now, capable of making any decisions she wants, with full responsibility and agency. And as an adult, she has no problem being around a creep who statutorily raped her. Not to mention that you're just finding out about their deal 3 years into dating her. Does her sister know? She claims her sister and their entire family know about him and her past, but I have had indications otherwise. She can make her choice whether to be around him, and you can make your choice. But I wouldn't have kids with her or bring any underage girls around him because he's a predator, not the a-hole. The messed up twist? My girlfriend has 2 kids. One of them a daughter, and her sister has a daughter from a previous relationship. Not the a-hole, but maybe some of your gripes should be with the brother-in-law for being a freaking weirdo. She was 16, a minor when this happened. Who knows what kind of trauma that caused her? I understand your frustration, but like someone else said, this is way more than a question Reddit should be answering. Just as an example, you cite comments he's made as one rationale for not wanting him around her. Comments he's made. Maybe address him next time instead of having everyone avoid the issue. It sounds like your problem is with him, not your wife, as it should be. I 100% agree. There's a lot to the story. I tried to fight him when I was 19 over the situation with my sister, and he threatened to shoot me. I confronted him when he made the comments, and he hasn't said anything to me since, but I've been told he's made comments to others. The only reason I haven't done something to this guy is because I don't want to get shot, and I don't want to cause a bunch of issues in her family.